Today we're diving back into one of my favorite horror games ever made, Spooky's House of Jump Scares. More specifically, we're going to be talking about what I think is one of the biggest mysteries in the entire game. Something Spooky herself couldn't quite answer. What exactly is Karamari Hospital? At first glance, it just seems like another creepy DLC. You've got abandoned hospital hallways, disturbing monsters, and enough medical equipment to make anyone uncomfortable. But I don't think it's just some random spooky location. I think Carmari Hospital is actually the hospital where Spooky herself was pronounced dead. Not where she died, we already know that, but where the doctors delivered the final news and penned her death certificate. Now, this theory is going to contain some spoilers for the original game, Karamari Hospital, and the Dollhouse DLC, so if you haven't played them yet, you've been officially warned. With that out of the way, let's start by figuring out where Karamari Hospital actually fits into the game's timeline. Before we can talk about the hospital itself, we need to settle which ending of the original game is actually canon. At the end of Spooky's House of Jump Scares, we have two possible endings. Technically three, but two actual real endings. In the good ending, Spooky decides you've proven yourself worthy. Instead of becoming another specimen, you become a part of her little ghost army to help her spread her spooky revolution, which honestly sounds like the cutest horror cult ever created. Sorry, Spooky. The bad ending, however, goes much less well. You refuse Spooky's offer and end up becoming another specimen trapped inside the mansion forever. At first, both endings seem equally valid, but once you look at the DLCs, one of them starts falling apart. Both Carmari Hospital and the Dollhouse clearly feature the same protagonists from the original game. They're still carrying the axe they've had, they can breathe, bleed, and more importantly, they can still die. That immediately creates a problem. If the good ending happened, the protagonist would already be dead. They've joined Spooky's army as a ghost, and their story is over. Instead, they're still very much alive, and that simply doesn't line up. Now, I know one possible counter-argument. Karamari Hospital begins around room 995, only 5 rooms before the end of the game. By the time you've survived 995 rooms of monsters, endless hallways, and enough cardboard cutouts to traumatize an entire generation of gamers, Spooky has probably already decided whether you're joining her army or not. Because of that, I think the bad ending makes much more sense as the true ending to the original game. Now that we've established our timeline, let's talk about Spooky herself. Thanks to the Dollhouse DLC, we finally learn how she died. As heartbreaking as it is, Spooky wasn't killed by some monster lurking inside the mansion. She was accidentally shot by her own father, and after her death, her father became obsessed with bringing her back. Instead of accepting what happened, he built the mansion as a gigantic experiment combining science and witchcraft, in hopes of resurrecting his daughter. You know, normal Tuesday activities. But here's where things get interesting. If you're trying to bring someone back from the dead, you have a serious problem. Bodies don't stay fresh forever. Even if they're refrigerated, frozen solid, decomposition still continues. Eventually, tissues begin breaking down, which would make resurrecting the body considerably more difficult. Think about the meat sitting in your freezer. Leave it in there long enough, and it starts getting freezer burn. The texture changes, it dries out. Now imagine waiting months or even years before attempting to resurrect a human body while trying to build your own morgue and mansion. Needless to say, that's probably less than ideal. So if Spooky's father wanted any chance of bringing her back, he needed to act fast. And where's the first place someone goes after being shot? The hospital. In the real world, someone who dies from a traumatic injury has to be pronounced dead by medical professionals. Even if they're already deceased on arrival, staff still document the time, cause, and circumstances around the death. Considering the hospital is where the morgue is located as well, that means Spooky's body almost certainly would have ended up at the hospital after the incident at some point or another. The hospital wasn't just another building connected to the mansion later, it was ground zero, and honestly, it would make thematic sense too. Carmari Hospital feels different from the rest of Spooky's mansion. Instead of relying on haunted forests or creepy monsters, it leans heavily into medical horror. Abandoned hallways, patient rooms, broken equipment. It's a place associated with death before anything supernatural even happens. That makes it the perfect setting for the single most important death in the game's story: Spookies. Of course, there isn't one giant document hidden somewhere that outright says, "Congratulations, you found the hospital where Spooky died." This is still just a theory. But when you line up the timeline, the bad ending, Spooky's father's desperation, and the practical need to preserve her body, it all starts pointing towards the same conclusion. Karamari Hospital wasn't chosen randomly. It's the place where Spooky's father officially lost his daughter. Not the place where she bled out, but the place where doctors delivered that unequivocal truth. The place where he refused to let go. And ultimately, the place where the events that created the mansion truly began. Of course, we know from the Dollhouse DLC that her body didn't stay fresh forever. And eventually, he moved on into attempting to seal her in a doll, before eventually giving up and sealing her to the mansion itself. But hey, that's my interpretation. I'd love to hear what you all think. Do you think Carmari Hospital is where Spooky was pronounced dead? Or am I completely losing it after spending way too much time wandering through endless hallways? Let me know your own theories down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because there's still plenty more mysteries hidden inside Spooky's House of Jumpscares. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.